Hello everybody and welcome back to Clash of Streamers Explained. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Get Lucky building. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. What? Come on, dude. You gotta spin the wheel, you get some loot. What else is there to it? Well, there are some hidden nuances to the Get Lucky building, which many people may not be aware of, and some great potential rewards that you might miss out on if you aren't careful. I'm gonna start right with the basics. You have 8 potential rewards that you can get by spinning the wheel. This loot can be changed by pressing the refresh button. You have a new free refresh every 4 hours, so you should never spend gems to refresh. If you don't want an item to change in the refresh, you can actually make sure it stays on the wheel by locking it. For most players, you can only lock 1 item on the wheel, but at VIP level 4, you can lock 2 items, and at VIP 9, you can lock 3 items. You also might notice items that have these orange banners on the top right corner with stars. This just means it's improved loot from what you would normally get. As you can see here on the wheel, I have a high level streamer, and since this is quite a good drop, I'm gonna lock it. And as I refresh the loot table, you can see some loot changes, but my streamer stays. Now, in the very center of the wheel, you can see the total amount of Get Lucky chips you have, or in other words, how many spins you can do. Just above this, you can press this button and spin once and spend 1 chip, or press below and spin 10 times in 1 click using 10 Get Lucky chips. If you are VIP level 3, you can spin 10 times for only 9 chips, and if you are VIP level 6, you can spin 10 times for 8 chips. Now when we spin, we can see items appearing on both sides of the screen. The items that appear on the left hand side are epic loot drops or common drops, and the loot that appears on the right hand side is legendary loot, or in other words, very good and uncommon loot. One thing you should keep in mind is that some items on the wheel have a limit. What this means is after you spin the wheel and land on this loot, even if it's locked, it will still be switched out for something else. Like this streamer, for example. At the top here, it says it has a limit of 1. So even though it's locked, it will eventually be switched out once I get the drop. Some loot doesn't have any limit, and for those, we can get them an unlimited number of times. This is important to be aware of when choosing what items to lock on the wheel. Since we want to have a consistently high loot output, we want to lock something which has no limit. These 3 drops have no limit to the number of times we can get them, and the rest have a limit of 1. We can take a look at the Get Lucky odds to see what the best loot with no limit is. The odds shown here aren't actually the odds of getting the items when spinning. They're actually the odds of getting certain loot on the wheel after a refresh. As we can see, out of all the common loot drops, 500 gems is the most rare. So this is what you should aim to lock. Because we want to get the 500 gem drop, we don't ever want to lock 250 because that means it wouldn't ever refresh and we wouldn't get the possibility of 500 gems. Until you manage to get the 500 gem drop, you should lock one of these other drops with no limit. 2 VIP tickets is your second best lock since it is extremely common when spinning the wheel, followed by the 2 tryhard scrolls since they drop less often. If you happen to run out of locks and you see another rare item on the wheel, you should just leave the wheel as is and never refresh. So as long as you don't refresh, you can have 1 more rare item on the wheel than what you have locks for. I would also advise skipping the Get Lucky event until you have a reasonable loot table to work with. You won't be missing out on much by skipping the event for a while. If it takes you a long time to get a decent loot table, you'll have a ton of Get Lucky chips which you can use towards a shiny legendary Get Lucky event, which takes thousands of chips for each tier. And that's pretty much all I've got to talk about the Get Lucky building. Hopefully some of you learned something useful which will help you out in your Clash of Streamers journey, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, it's always appreciated. Definitely let me know in the comments which topic you'd like me to get to next. If you're looking for explanations, guides, strategies, tips, and tricks, you are in the right place. Stay tuned and subscribe for more. You don't want to miss out. Until the next time.